we focus on billionaires, especially lately. We've been talking a lot about billionaires, specific billionaires. We've talked about, in recent times, it's been about Bezos and it's been about Virgin Boy, whatever his name is. Recently, we've talked about not we, but like sort of society in general. It's talked about the Walgreens or Waltons, the fucking Walmart family. I want to talk about a different family or a different company, and I want to talk about it from that perspective of why do we tolerate the idea of the existence of billionaires? Why do we tolerate the idea of people whose entire purpose is to exploit us at our most difficult times and to profit off that? So, Loblaws. That's what we're going to talk about. Live life well. We're going to look at Loblaws as a company. A lot of people don't realize just how fucking big Loblaws is here in Canada. And we'll fucking foam at the mouth about Jeff Bezos and Amazon. These people are just as sinister. We don't tolerate them. We're scratching and fighting for survival. They're buying low and selling high on the backs of misery. Absolutely. And that's what I want to sort of foam at the mouth about next. So I'm at the Loblaw Companies Limited page, and I wanted to just scroll through a little bit and show you the list of companies that they own. Oh, I think there's actually, we have to go to the About page. I kind of quickly perused this. So who we are, what we do. They help Canadians live life well. To a certain degree, that is true. You know, they are a necessary evil, or at least the services they provide. So, Loblaws owns President's Choice, No Name, Farmers Market, PC Express, Loblaws, Zehrs, Independent, I can't even read what the text at the bottom is there, Value Mart, Provigo, Atlantic Superstore, stores in Newfoundland and Labrador. I genuinely hope they're actually called, let's go down to stores in Newfoundland and Labrador. Fortino's, TNT, the Wholesale Club, Real Canadian Superstore, No Frills, Extra Foods, and Maxi. So that's a pretty substantial group of food companies, and that's just food. We also have health and wellness, where they own, come on, Shoppers Drug Mart, Pharmaprix, which I'm assuming is in the greater Quebec area, Wellwise by Shoppers, Medical Cannabis by Shoppers, The Health Clinic, Life Brand, and Theodore and Pringle Optical. That's health and wellness. We have fashion and beauty, where they own Joe Fresh, Beauty Boutique, The Beauty Clinic, and Quo Beauty. Joe Fresh is the only name of those that I recognize because I don't really... I'm not a fashion person, but Joe Fresh is the PC... if I go to Superstore, all of their shitty quality stuff is always Joe Fresh. Like their equivalent of Champion before suddenly all the kids decided Champion was cool. And then we have payments and rewards. They have PC Financial, PC Optimum, and PC Optimum Insiders subscription. So that's actually a pretty striking number of companies. Now let's see what their Who We Are says. I haven't looked at this part. I see some chat stuff happening. Farm of Pricks. You're already a beautiful man, Jim. You don't need Joe Fresh. You are fresh. It's true. It's true. Fresh as a fucking daisy. So they are Canada's food and pharmacy leader. We are Loblaw. Since 1919, we innovated the grocery retail experience to better serve Canadians. I love the name Loblaw, by the way, because it makes me think of that Bob Loblaw from Arrested Development, who had that Loblaw, Bob Loblaw's Loblaw. But yeah, Loblaw. Terrible name. At a glance, they're one of Canada's top 100 employers. This is one of those bullshit things that like every company is one of Canada's top 100 employers. And what that means, pretty much a bullshit answer. 90% of Canadians live within 10 kilometers of one of our locations. That's a pretty striking statement. More than 18 million PC Optimum members, 3 million PC Financial MasterCard holders, They employ 190,000 full and part-time positions, and there are more than 2,400 stores across Canada. They are proudly Canadian, fourth-generation family business, serving communities across our country since 1919. The key here, this is a family business. It's the little guys. First, Loblaws Groceterias opened in Toronto in 1919. We have a timeline here. President's Choice Children's Charity in 1989. So they've been around. They've done their thing, and aren't they just super swell? Oh, George Weston Limited. The George Weston family owns Loblaws. Okay. Young Toronto bread salesman and former baker's apprentice named George Weston went into business for himself when he bought a bread route from his employer. By the turn of the century, Weston's bread was known throughout the city, and George Weston had become Canada's biggest baker. Blah, blah, blah. In 2018, as part of the George Weston's transformation initiative and ongoing mission to drive shareholder value, the company completed a reorganization where Loblaw spun out its majority interest in Choice Properties to George Weston. George Weston's acquisition of a majority ownership of Choice Properties was a critical milestone in the recent history. So it sounds to me like what we're looking at is, the majority of this company is owned by George Weston family. I'm not seeing a whole lot of details about them. I was kind of hoping for that. So this is 2021. First quarter sales comps do not tell the full story. Yes, continue to cite. Why the fuck would I not want to continue to the site? Jesus fucking Christ. So Loblaw companies recorded virtually flat food retail sales in the fiscal 2021 first quarter, which cycled last year's sales surge from the COVID-19 pandemic, while earnings topped analysts' high-end estimate. So flat retail sales, but earnings were high. Total retail sales in the 12-week quarter ended March 27th edged up 0.7% to 11.67 billion Canadian from 11.58 billion a year earlier. Loblaw said yesterday the Brampton, Ontario-based retailer had posted a 10.8% sales gain in the 2020 first quarter. So first quarter foods sales for 2021 came in at 8.48 billion, up 1.8% from 8.33 billion in the 2020 quarter, which saw a 10.9% gain. Same store sales for food inched up 0.1% year over year. The first quarter generated strong financial results that reflected continued improvement in our business. As we report on our second year of the pandemic, comparable numbers do not tell the entire story. As such, I will include commentary in two-year average growth rates as applicable to provide further context in our operating performance, CFO Darren Myers told analysts. So what they're saying is 2021, they didn't see huge year after year growth, right? But that makes sense because their big growth was at the start of the pandemic, and what they're doing is they're saying like, we didn't grow too much, but we grew a shit ton last time, and we're holding steady. We are growing from that. So that's an important thing. Is the pandemic has been real good to the Loblaws family. Continued its strong momentum from the fourth quarter before lapping the COVID-related pantry stocking from 2020, which drove same-store sales last year of 9.6%, including 44% in the final 2 weeks of the quarter. He explained, our average article price was 3.9% for the quarter and unchanged from Q4. The increase in average article price compared to last year was driven by sales mix, and we continue to see outsized basket growth and traffic declines in the quarter. On a 2-year rate, food same-store sales reflected average growth of 4.9%. So despite the fact that they're competing with the ridiculousness of when COVID started and everyone was like, I need to buy every piece of toilet paper that ever was toileted, they're still growing. They're still doing even better. Not substantially, like massively better, but they're continuing to meet the targets that came from this inflated COVID rush of panic buying. Galen Weston and Forbes profile. Oh, there's a Forbes profile. The Westons are the 178th on the billionaire list, number 3 in Canada. Billionaires made it like bandits during the pandemic. Grandfather built it, son grew it, junior is running it now. No nepotism or anything. Intergenerational wealth is a con. I completely agree with all of those statements. I'm going to get ready to pop open this, the Forbes article. We'll look at that in a second. So, Poor Shoppers Drug Mart. First quarter sales fell 1.9% to 3.19 billion from 3.25 billion a year ago, where Loblaw reported a 10.7% increase. So my assumption is, I'm not doing the math off the top of my head, but 3.25 billion was a 10.6% increase from the year prior. So 3.19 billion is probably still over what their sales were prior to the pandemic happening. I could be wrong about that. I'm just doing math in my head, and my head's not very good. So we'll find out. Front store same sales continue to be impacted by sales mix. Front store sales lapped strong sales of 10.7% last year. 42% growth in the final 2 weeks of the quarter. 2021 first quarter also lapsed an extra week of elevated sales from the previous year, negative impacting some same-store sales by about 100 basis points in food and 100, I don't know. I don't speak the language enough to understand what this means. At the end of the day, though, what we're looking at is a company that in a quarter, like the first quarter, they made 11.67 billion Canadian dollars in a quarter. A quarter is 3 fucking months. This is kind of a large amount of money. I mean, I can't picture it, but it seems like 11.67 billion is a bunch of dollars. I'm fairly certain that most businesses did not see 11.67 billion dollars in revenue. I'm not opposed to the idea of a large corporation. I'm not opposed to the idea of, pardon me, of a company making massive profits in when economic circumstances present themselves. I still can't see those numbers and say this is reasonable. I understand, if I'm not mistaken, Loblaws is all of their workers are unionized, or at least the full-time workers are unionized. So they're not like the worst of the worst of the worst of evils, but this is pretty disgusting for a family to be able to generate 11.67 billion. And I'm being spurious when I say a family, but at the end of the day, the ownership of this is with the family. That's pretty fucking gross. Let's take a look at this Forbes profile that I Am Canadian gave us. This is Galen Weston. Oh, loser. He's only worth $7 billion personally. Get a job, hippie. Canada-based heir to a... don't want to allow notifications from Forbes. So, Canadian-based heir to a food and retail group founded by his father died. Oh, he died on April 12th, 2021. So he's just a few months dead. So let's talk Yellow the Dead for a sec. Fuck you, you only $7 billion pussy. After successfully running grocery stores in Ireland, his father handed him the reins to Canada's struggling Loblaws supermarket chain in 1972. He turned the company around, lopping off underperforming stores and redesigning the rest. His son, Galen G. Weston, is the CEO of George Weston Limited, which controls Loblaws and owns real estate. This is one of the keys, is apparently George Weston owns a huge amount of real estate, including a lot of the space that Loblaws uses for their the various stores, if I understand correctly, which creates the scenario where you are charging rent to your business that is then paying your business rent. So it's like it's this fake accounting. The same amount of money comes in. One company gets a write-off, the other company gets income, and it's none of it's real. None of it's real, because the George Weston Company Limited isn't going to kick a tenant out if it's a Loblaw's tenant for non-payment of rent. So it's all just fucking spurious bullshit. His daughter, Alana Weston, shares UK department store chain Selfridges, which that's a terrible name. I hope it's someone's family name, because that's just way too close to like suffrage, which Weston acquired in 2003. W. Galen Weston is survived by his wife, his 2 children, 4 grandchildren, and 5 siblings. He's number 200 on the Billionaires 2020. Do we have a link to his kid, Galen G. Weston? No one could build a company like this accidentally. Like you couldn't just like through hard work and stick-to-itiveness make Loblaws. And Loblaws, if I understand correctly, Start up a drugstore. See how well you can compete with Loblaws. See how well, no matter how innovative and stuff, because of the sheer size of the organization and the available assets, they can stop all of their competitors from doing whatever the fuck they want. We have a Galen Weston Jr. Wikipedia link. Dork. Dork, dork, dork. You sure Bill Gates isn't the dad? Prominent Weston family. Serves as chairman and CEO of George Weston Limited, as well as executive chairman of Loblaw Industries Limited. He's the son of Galen Weston Sr. and Hilary Weston. Early life and education career. So he took over Loblaws in 2006. Held position in the company for 8 years and was a member of the board of directors. At that point, the company was worth around $9.5 billion. Weston has featured in a number of television and radio commercials for Loblaws and its brands. I'm assuming that these are in the vein of like Dave Thomas, the folksy, hey, I'm Dave Thomas. I wanted to make a restaurant for my daughter Wendy. And that's why we're so successful, is we really care about meat. Bullshit, dude. You are a capitalist monster who did capitalist monster things, and that's why you're huge. Succeeded his line. His father, 2006 and 2017, Loblaw and its parents company announced action the companies had taken to address their role in price-fixing arrangement involving certain packaged breads. I know about this one. In the statement, Weston is quoted as saying, "This sort of behavior is wrong and has no place in our business or Canada's grocery industry." Isn't that convenient how they always have that plausible deniability? How was I to know we were price-fixing? I'm just the CEO. The buck stops somewhere. I don't know where. Gosh. In response, Loblaw and George Weston said the companies had reported the price fixing to the Competition Bureau, that the employees responsible for George Weston and Loblaw's role in this are no longer with the company, and the company had significantly enhanced their compliance programs with measures that are industry-leading and go further than the Competition Bureau's requirements. This is called spin. They realized they were fucked. They probably were being told they were going to be exposed, so they jumped ahead of the gun and went, okay, we're going to report this and we're going to do even better. That's just spin. Loblaws, and I remember this, offering customers a $25 Loblaw card. If you've ever used bread, we feel really bad. Here's $25. That's cool, but it's just a bribe. It's Ralph Bucks. Fuck that. Faced criticism from the Canadian labor movement, including from unions representing his company's workers and from consumers. In June 2020, Weston confirmed the cancellation of an hourly $2 Canadian wage premium to Loblaw workers, earning criticism from Unifor President Jerry Diaz. The premium was paid to low-wage grocery store workers who were deemed essential and required to attend work in dangerous conditions while most of Canada was shut down in response to COVID-19. Let me reread that for a second. So they canceled a $2 an hour wage premium for their essential. So essentially what they did was they were like, you guys are essential. We really appreciate you guys are taking one on the chin for the Loblaws family. You guys are all part of the family. That's awesome. It's June. Fuck you. $2 back. Eat it, dick. That sounds exactly like, wouldn't it be great to be rich? How are there so many billionaires off to build some guillotines now, right? They build in needy communities, overtake, put everyone out of business, and then when it's gentrified, they essentially own the neighborhood and make policy. But Dave's double cheese at chili fries. I'm not complaining about Wendy's food. I love a Wendy's burger. I'm just saying Dave Thomas wasn't that cutesy, folksy old guy from the commercials. Check his personal life. Married, granddaughter of the founder of Bata Shoes, which is another huge billionaire company. Weston married Alexandra Schmidt, the granddaughter of the founder of Bata Shoes, Thomas Bata, in 2005. I didn't even notice that. But yeah, isn't that cool how legacies can collide like that? I'm sure that was, is this the same thing as when the Blue Blood thing, right? So you marry rich so that you can align your family's wealth into greater wealth. Yeah, smacks of royalty and marrying for power, marrying for the consolidation of power. That's just, maybe I'm a libertarian communist prick, but I think that's yucky. I'm going out on a limb here. I think that's a truly, genuinely evil thing. So what are we learning? We're not really learning anything, but we're, my point in bringing this up was to ask that question. Like, how much is too much? At what point does the company outgrow its usefulness? I would not argue that things like Shoppers Drug Mart and PC Foods and all President's Choice, all of that, I definitely think they're important. But I'm reminded of a little company called Ma Bell. Ma Bell, maybe you remember it. They were the phone company in the U.S. and I think in large part in Canada, and they got to be just too fucking big. And we did that thing that we do when a company gets to be too fucking big. We said this is no longer competitive. We need to stop. We need to reassess. We need to break this apart into constituent pieces that it can be run as independent companies, so that you don't have this impossible wall of money, an oligarchy or a monopoly, depending on the circumstances. I guess that would be like is it an oleopoly, or I can't even think of the word. It's warm and I'm stupid. We did that. We have stopped doing that. We've gotten to a point now where we're allowing corporations to amass massive wealth. Not only that, we're allowing, like, Loblaws has a shit ton of money offshore. So that 4 point or 8 point whatever the fuck, 11 billion, whatever it was, that $11 billion in sales, a lot of that isn't going to be taxed. This is ridiculous. Meanwhile, the tax man is being sent to harangue people like me and people in my position, like all of us, because, did you accidentally, put a 3 instead of a 1 in this column, and that means that you were like 20 cents less? But this is what they do. Meanwhile, a company like fucking Loblaws legally is taking their money and hiding it in fucking the Bermuda island, whatever, the Bermuda, and just not paying tax on it because they don't want to. And the Canadian government's like, these are great Canadians. Meanwhile, I'm getting fucked over. You're getting fucked over. We're all getting like the constant stress of tax debt and shit. This is stupid. It's fucking stupid.
First off, I want to say thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed, please like and subscribe. It really does help me out. Thank you to my patrons that support me on Patreon. I am a little streamer, and these people are all really awesome for supporting me. Thank you to I Am Canadian. Special huge thanks go to my one prophet, Shithead Dave Anderson. And of course, my final tier of supporters is the Gods. This tier is the most expensive and likely to never have any members, but Patreon really told me I should have one, so it's true, I guess. There are no gods. I try to put up stuff at least once a week, and I live stream every Saturday at noon Mountain Time on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, like an old man. Again, thanks for watching, and have a kick-ass day.